Something happens to a lot of people after 60. The same home you kept spotless for decades starts to feel like it's winning. You clean one room, and by the time you're done, another one needs attention. You buy a new product, try a new system, watch a new video, and still the house never quite feels the way you want it to feel. And the frustrating part? Your grandmother kept her home immaculate with almost no effort at all. No special products, no systems she found on the internet, just a clean, calm house every single day. So what changed? And more importantly, what did she know that we've lost? Because here's what I've come to believe after years of helping people simplify their homes. The problem isn't you. It's not your age, it's not your energy levels, and it's not that you've somehow gotten worse at keeping house. The problem is that somewhere along the way, we made homemaking dramatically more complicated than it needs to be. And the 1950s housewife, for all the limitations of that era, had figured out something simple and powerful that most of us have completely forgotten. Before we get into it, does your home feel harder to manage now than it did 20 years ago? Tell me in the comments. I want to know if this is something you're experiencing too, because you are definitely not alone. The answer starts with something we rarely think about: the size of the house itself. The average new American home in 1950 was around 983 square feet, less than half the size of the average home built today, which sits at roughly 2,500 square feet. One bathroom shared by the whole family, 3 or 4 people living in roughly 300 square feet each. Today, that number has tripled, even though families are smaller. Here's the first secret of the always clean 1950s home. There was simply less space to get dirty. When your entire home is 3 or 4 rooms, keeping it tidy is a fundamentally different task than maintaining a house with a living room, a family room, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a mudroom, and a walk-in pantry. Smaller homes mean fewer surfaces and fewer places for clutter to hide. But smaller homes alone don't explain it. Plenty of small apartments today are cluttered and dusty. The real difference was what happened inside those walls every single morning. The 1950s housewife kept a daily cleaning routine that would surprise most modern households. She followed it not because she was obsessive, but because the culture of the era treated housekeeping like a skilled profession with real standards and fixed schedules. Every morning after the family left for work and school, she would open the curtains, pull back the sheets to air the beds, and open the windows to let the house breathe. Then she began what homemaking guides of the era called the morning tidying circuit. She carried a wicker basket through every room, picking up anything that wasn't in its place: newspapers to the rack, shoes to the closet, toys to the bedroom, cushions straightened, houseplants watered. In a 983 square foot home, this took about 15 minutes. The reason your grandmother's house always looked clean when someone dropped by unannounced was not that she'd spent all day scrubbing, it was that she straightened every room every single morning before doing anything else. The daily tidying circuit is the habit modern households have most completely abandoned, and it is probably the single most effective cleaning technique ever practiced in American homes. Now, here's why this matters specifically if you're over 60. When the kids were at home, the house practically tidied itself on a schedule. School runs, meal times, bedtimes, life had a rhythm that kept things moving. But once the house empties out, that external rhythm disappears, and without a replacement routine, stuff quietly accumulates. A pile here, a stack there, nothing dramatic, just a slow drift that one day makes the whole house feel heavy. The morning tidying circuit is the exact kind of gentle, low-energy daily habit that can reverse that drift without requiring a full day of exhausting deep cleaning. If you're finding this useful, make sure you're subscribed to Senior Decluttering Diaries. Every week I share practical, realistic ideas for simplifying your space and making your home feel calm again. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. The answer starts with something we rarely think about: the possessions themselves. Walk into the cleaning aisle of any grocery store today and you'll find an overwhelming wall of options. Sprays formulated specifically for marble, for quartz, for laminate, toilet bowl cleaners in gel form, tablet form, clip-on form. The sheer variety is almost paralyzing. In the 1950s, the average household kept about 5 products on hand. Baking soda was the workhorse. It scoured sinks, cleaned pots, deodorized refrigerators, and lifted burned food from cookware without scratching. White vinegar handled the glass and the grease. Diluted in water, it cleaned windows streak-free, cut through stovetop residue, and descaled kettles. Bar soap did the laundry. Fell's naphtha, on the market since 1893, treated grease stains, chocolate, and grass. Some women grated it into flakes and made their own liquid laundry soap. Borax handled disinfecting. Sprinkled into toilet bowls overnight, it dissolved hard water scale and left porcelain looking almost new. Bleach handled the whites. 5 products: baking soda, vinegar, bar soap, borax, and bleach. 5 ingredients that covered the kitchen, the bathroom, the laundry, the floors, and the windows. Today, the average American home contains between 20 and 30 different cleaning products, and we spend over $800 a year on them. We haven't necessarily gotten better at cleaning, we've gotten better at filling our shopping carts with things that promise to make cleaning easier. What the 5-product system had going for it was depth of understanding. When you only have a handful of tools, you learn to use each one thoroughly. The 1950s housewife knew exactly how baking soda behaved on enamel versus porcelain, how much vinegar to dilute for glass versus how much to apply full strength on lime deposits. She was, in a very practical sense, a working chemist operating from a small but deeply understood pantry. If this kind of content speaks to you, practical wisdom about simplifying your home and your life after 60, you are in exactly the right place. Senior Decluttering Diaries is here every week for that. Subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Now, was the always clean 1950s home purely a product of good systems, or was it a product of one person's full-time, unpaid labor? The honest answer is both, and it's important not to gloss over the second half. The cultural expectation of the era was that a married woman's primary occupation was homemaking. The woman who maintained that spotless home often had very little time for herself, limited career options, and a social identity almost entirely defined by her domestic role. That pressure had real consequences that are easy to romanticize from a distance, but the stories are often more complicated than the modern narrative assumes. One woman who attempted a full 1950s cleaning schedule for a week found the daily tidying circuit surprisingly manageable, but the emotional weight of being solely responsible was exhausting. Her own grandmother admitted she had never followed anything quite that strict. Her grandmother-in-law revealed that her husband actually did a large share of the cleaning himself. The spotless 1950s home was partly real and partly aspirational. Plenty of those homes were messy, lived in, and imperfect. The culture just didn't broadcast that the way social media broadcasts curated living rooms today. So what did they genuinely get right, and what can you actually use today? A framework. The understanding that keeping a home clean is not one overwhelming task, but a series of small, predictable habits repeated over time. And one more advantage the 1950s housewife had that rarely gets mentioned: she had dramatically less stuff to manage. Fewer clothes, fewer gadgets, far less disposable packaging. Families owned what they needed and not much beyond that. Today, researchers estimate the average American home contains 300,000 individual items. That number would have been unthinkable in 1955, and every one of those items collects dust, takes up space, and adds seconds to the effort of straightening a room. This is exactly why decluttering becomes so important after 60. It's not about getting rid of memories or things you love, it's about reducing the sheer volume of stuff that stands between you and a home that feels calm and manageable. The fewer things you own, the faster the morning circuit moves. The faster the circuit moves, the lighter the whole house feels. I want to ask you something before we close. When you look around your home right now, does the amount of stuff you own feel manageable, or does it feel like it's quietly running you? Drop a comment below. This community is full of people on the same journey, and your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. There's one final ingredient that made the 1950s approach work, and it had nothing to do with products. It was the expectation that someone might walk in at any moment. Neighbors rang the doorbell without calling first, front doors stayed unlocked all day. That created a gentle accountability that has largely disappeared from modern life. Today we schedule visits days in advance and meet friends at coffee shops instead of in our kitchens, and our incentive to maintain a tidy home has migrated to social media, where the standard is no longer a clean living room, but a perfectly styled, photographed one that was never designed for real life. In the 1950s, that standard was achievable with 15 minutes of effort each morning. What social media asks of us today is not achievable at all because it was created for cameras, not for families. What the 1950s got right was the simplicity of the goal. A clean home, not a curated one, just a calm, comfortable place where you can live without apology. And if your home has started to feel heavy, if you walk through it and feel the weight of everything that needs doing, I want you to know that is not a personal failing. That is the entirely predictable result of accumulating decades worth of stuff inside a system that was never designed to manage it all. The good news is that the solution is simpler than the cleaning aisle would have you believe. A basket, a morning, every room, every day, and over time, a little less stuff. That's it. That's what she knew. If this resonated with you, I would love for you to be part of this community. Senior Decluttering Diaries is here every week with honest, practical conversations about simplifying your home and your life, especially in the season when it matters most. Subscribe, leave a comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. I'll see you in the next one.